Walk onto any used car lot in America right now and watch what happens. Every buyer walks past the same sport utility vehicle sitting in the back row, price slashed twice, and marches straight to the RAV4 with 80,000 miles and a $26,000 sticker that the salesman will not budge on. I have been a mechanic for over 20 years, and I am telling you, 3 of those sport utility vehicles sitting on that same lot right now will still be running long after that brand new RAV4 is in a junkyard with a seized engine and a dead CVT. Today I am counting down all 3, and number 1 is the single best value in the entire used SUV market. Let us get into it. Number 3 is an SUV that most people dismiss the second they see the badge on the tailgate, and that reaction is exactly why it is such a bargain right now. The Ford Escape second generation from 2009 to 2012, specifically with the 2.5-liter Duratec 4-cylinder. Not the EcoBoost, not the hybrid. The base model, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that Ford built in partnership with Mazda during the years when both companies were still sharing platforms and engineering the simplest possible powertrains. A young couple came into my shop last fall. They had just had their first baby. They were driving a 2006 Chevy Trailblazer that was burning oil and leaking from 3 different gaskets. Their budget was $7,000, and they told me everyone was telling them to buy a RAV4. I asked how much RAV4 they thought $7,000 would buy. The answer is a 2009 with 160,000 miles and a check engine light. I sent them to look at a 2011 Ford Escape XLT with 94,000 miles, listed at $6,400 at a wholesale lot 20 minutes away. Leather seats, power everything, and a service history that showed oil changes every 5,000 miles like clockwork. They bought it. That was 11 months ago. Total repairs since then have been 1 set of front brake pads and an oil change. The baby rides in the back every single day. Here is what is under the hood that matters. The 2.5-liter Duratec is derived from the Mazda L series engine, the same family that powered the Mazda 3 and the Mazda 6 during their most reliable years. It is a timing chain engine. There is no belt replacement at 100,000 miles. There is no turbocharger waiting to fail at 90,000 miles. It has port fuel injection, which means no carbon buildup on the intake valves. It produces 171 horsepower, which is modest, but it moves the Escape's 3,400 pounds without complaint and returns 23 to 28 miles per gallon on the highway. That is better than the current RAV4 with the 2.5-liter in real-world driving for a lot of owners. The transmission paired with it in these years is the Ford 6F35/6 Speed Automatic. It is not the most exciting gearbox ever made, but it shifts cleanly and holds up. I have seen dozens of these past 200,000 miles with nothing but fluid changes every 60,000 miles. Compare that to the CVT in the current RAV4, which Toyota designed for fuel economy, not for longevity. I am already seeing CVT shudder complaints from RAV4 owners at 80,000 miles. That is a $4,000 repair. The 6F35 in the Escape can be rebuilt at any transmission shop in the country for $1,800 if it ever needs it, and most of them never do. Current market pricing on a 2010 to 2012 Ford Escape with the 2.5-liter engine and under 110,000 miles is between $5,000 and $8,500. A same-year RAV4 with comparable miles is $11,000 to $15,000. You're paying $6,000 more for the Toyota badge and the privilege of worrying about a CVT. When you inspect one, check the front lower control arm bushings. They wear out around 100,000 miles and cost about $350 to replace. Check the rear wheel bearings by grabbing the tire at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock and rocking it. Any play means a $400 fix that is worth negotiating over. Look underneath the valve cover for oil seepage. A small amount is cosmetic. A stream running down the block means walk away. Number 2 is the SUV that Honda has been quietly building to perfection for decades, and the used market still has not figured out that the older ones are nearly as reliable as the new ones at a fraction of the cost. The Honda CR-V, third generation from 2007 to 2011, powered by the 2.4-liter K24Z engine. If this kind of honest breakdown is helping you make smarter decisions, hit subscribe. I put out videos every week on the vehicles dealerships do not want you to know about. Now back to the CR-V. A retired mail carrier came to me 2 summers ago. He had put 280,000 miles on his postal route vehicle and wanted something reliable for personal use. He had $9,000. I pointed him to a 2010 Honda CR-V EXL with 87,000 miles listed at $8,800. All-wheel drive, leather, sunroof, and a maintenance history showing dealer-serviced oil changes for the first 70,000 miles. He bought it and has put 34,000 miles on it since. Total unplanned repairs in 2 years have been a front-wheel bearing at 108,000 miles for $380 and a new battery. That is it. He told me last month it is the most reliable vehicle he has ever owned, and the man drove professionally for 26 years. The K24Z in this generation CR-V is one of Honda's finest engines. It is a 2.4-liter naturally aspirated inline-4, producing 166 horsepower. It uses a timing chain, not a belt. It uses port fuel injection. There is no turbocharger. There are no direct injection carbon problems. This engine is related to the K series that powered the Accord, the Element, and the TSX during Honda's golden reliability era. It is rated for over 300,000 miles on original internals by multiple independent testing sources, and I have personally seen it happen more times than I can count. The 5-speed automatic paired with it is a conventional torque converter transmission that Honda refined for years before putting it in the CR-V. It is not a continuously variable transmission. That distinction matters enormously because continuously variable transmissions have a documented failure rate that traditional automatics simply do not match over 200,000 miles. With fluid changes every 60,000 miles, this transmission will outlive 2 sets of tires and 3 sets of brake pads without ever needing attention. Now let me talk about why this thing competes with a brand new RAV4 on daily livability. The cargo area in the 3rd generation CR-V is actually larger than the current RAV4 by 2 cubic feet. With the seats folded, the rear seat folds completely flat. The spare tire is mounted underneath, not eating into cargo space. Visibility is excellent in every direction because Honda had not yet adopted the fortress window lines that modern SUVs all use, and the real-world all-wheel drive system is effective enough that I have customers in Minnesota and Vermont who have driven these through a decade of winters without ever getting stuck. Current market price on a 2009 to 2011 CR-V with under 100,000 miles is between $8,000 and $12,000, depending on trim and region. A brand new RAV4 LE starts at $31,000. Even a used 2021 RAV4 with 50,000 miles is running $27,000. You can buy a clean CR-V for a third of that price and drive it for the next 10 years without a single repair that costs more than $500. When you shop for one, here is what to look for. Check the air conditioning compressor. Some models from 2008 and 2009 had a known compressor failure around 120,000 miles. It is a $700 fix, but if it is already blowing cold, you are past past the risk window. Listen for a vibration at idle when the engine is warm. Some K24Z engines develop a slight vibration from the motor mounts around 130,000 miles. New mounts are $400 for the set, and it is a known maintenance item, not a defect. And check the paint on the roof and hood. Honda had a clear coat issue on some 2007 to 2009 models in light colors. It is cosmetic only, but it tells you the vehicle sat outdoors in sunlight, which is worth knowing. Number 1, and here it is, the SUV I would buy tomorrow with my own money if I needed something to drive for the next 15 years with the absolute lowest possible repair costs. The Nissan Xterra, second generation from 2005 to 2015 with the VQ40DE 4-liter V6. Most people have completely forgotten this SUV exists. Nissan stopped making it in 2015 and barely said a word about it. No farewell campaign, no special edition. They just quietly stopped building one of the most mechanically over-engineered mid-size SUVs in history, and the market moved on like it never happened. That is exactly why you can buy one right now for less than half the price of a comparable Toyota RAV4. A landscaper I have known for years bought a 2012 Xterra Pro 4X 3 years ago with 96,000 miles for $12,800. He tows a trailer full of mowers 6 days a week. He drives gravel roads, dirt paths, and uneven terrain that would rattle a modern crossover apart. That Xterra now has 178,000 miles on it. Total repairs in 3 years have been a set of brakes, one radiator hose, and routine oil changes. He told me he has spent less on that truck in 3 years than his buddy spent on one repair bill for a 2020 RAV4 transmission replacement. He was not exaggerating. The VQ40DE under the hood is legendary. It is the same engine family that powered the Nissan 350Z, the Frontier, the Pathfinder, and the Infiniti FX35. Naturally aspirated, 4 liters, 261 horsepower, and 281 pound-feet of torque. Timing chain, port fuel injection, no turbocharger, no cylinder deactivation, no variable displacement. Nissan engineers built this engine for global markets, including regions where the nearest service center is 500 miles of dirt road away. They built it to run without intervention, and it does. I have personally seen multiple VQ40 engines exceed 300,000 miles on factory internals without a rebuild. One customer of mine has a 2007 Xterra at 312,000 miles still running on the original engine and transmission. That is not folklore. That is a truck I have inspected with my own hands. The 5-speed automatic behind it is equally proven. It is not fancy. It does not have 10 speeds or paddle shifters. It shifts firm and predictable, and it lasts. Change the fluid every 60,000 miles, and this transmission will outlive your interest in owning the vehicle. Now, here is why it outlasts a brand new RAV4 specifically. The Xterra is body-on-frame. The RAV4 is unibody. That difference matters over the long haul because body-on-frame vehicles handle stress, vibration, and hard use in ways that unibody crossovers simply cannot match over 200,000 miles. The Xterra has a fully boxed steel frame, a solid rear axle, and a real 4-wheel drive system with a 2-speed transfer case. It was built to work. The RAV4 was built to commute. There is nothing wrong with commuting, but when you are talking about which vehicle will still be driving in 2040, the answer is the one with the simpler powertrain and the heavier frame. Current market pricing is where this gets absurd. A 2012 to 2015 Nissan Xterra with the 4-liter V6 and 80,000 to 110,000 miles is selling for $12,000 to $17,000. A same-year Toyota 4Runner with the same engine displacement is selling for $24,000 to $32,000. That is a $12,000 difference for two SUVs with comparable reliability and the same basic engineering philosophy. The 4Runner has resale cult status. The Xterra does not. That is the only reason for the gap. When you inspect one, there is one critical issue to verify. Models from 2005 to 2010 had a known radiator defect where an internal crack allowed coolant to mix with transmission fluid through the integrated cooler. Xterra owners call it the strawberry milkshake of death. By 2011, Nissan revised the radiator design, and most affected vehicles have either been repaired or scrapped by now. Check the transmission fluid. If it is clean, red, you are fine. If it is pink, milky, or smells like strawberry, walk away immediately. Also, check the rear leaf springs for sag. Hard use flattens them over time, and replacements run about $600 per side. Inspect the timing chain guides by listening for any rattle on cold startup. A brief rattle that disappears in 2 seconds is normal. A rattle that lasts longer means the guides are wearing, and a $1,200 repair is coming. So there it is, 3 SUVs. The market is completely overlooked, and every one of them will outlast a brand new RAV4 off any showroom floor. The Ford Escape with the Mazda-derived 2.5-liter that costs less than a decent set of furniture. The Honda CR-V with the bulletproof K24 and a cargo area bigger than the vehicle replacing it. And the king of this list, the Nissan Xterra with the legendary VQ40 and a body-on-frame chassis that was engineered to survive the next century. None of these SUVs will turn heads in a parking lot. None of them have wireless charging pads or panoramic moonroofs. What they have is what the modern SUV industry has completely stopped prioritizing: mechanical simplicity that lasts. Next time a salesman tries to put you in a $35,000 RAV4 with a CVT and a turbocharged engine you will never fully own, walk to the back row and find one of these instead. If this helped, hit subscribe. I have more videos coming on the vehicles dealerships push and the ones that actually deserve your money. Take care of your car and it will take care of you. I will see you in the next one.